In the previous video, we created a pagination system that allows us to go back and forth with these previous and back buttons. Now it's time to also add page numbers. Considering we may have hundreds of pages, it's not feasible to just iterate over the pages and show them all. So say we're currently viewing page 8. What I'd like to do is to show two adjacent pages, and to make navigation even easier, the first and last ones as well. The last page in this case is number 15, but how we would handle some other cases. If the current page is number 2, our pagination system will need to show page number 1 to the left, followed by 3 and 4 to the right, and similar to above, ending with the last two pages. And if we're on the final page, things are just a predictable mix of the above. This has more functionality than I'd like to put in a helper, so I'm going to create a class called Renderable Pages Calculator to do the heavy lifting for us. I'll only provide the total pages and the page we're currently on. It doesn't need to hit the database or anything like that. Inside, I'll make a method called numbers that will return an array of the pages we have to render. This is the format we'll work with, where nil is going to represent the gap between the pages when rendering the Rails view. I'm going to create a test file for our Renderable Pages Calculator class, where we're going to test the numbers method we just made. Let's provide the same values from our earlier example. And as we just discussed, the expected result is an array with the first numbers, nil for gap, numbers around the current page, followed up by another nil, and the last two pages. And of course, we need to write the actual assertion as well. Running this, we expect it to fail, which it does. So let's code this. I'll start by adding every page number here, then we'll keep only what we're interested in. To retain only the first two pages, we can check if the page we're iterating is less than 3, and to also keep the last two, we'll check if page is greater or equal total pages minus 2. Things are getting a bit convoluted. Let's extract these to a method and check the output of our code against the spec. It fails, but we're getting there. Now let's also create a private method that checks if we are near the current page. Within it, we're going to check that the page is between current page minus 2 and current page plus 2. Let's run the spec. We almost made it pass, so we're just left with adding the nils. Using else nil adds a nil for all remaining numbers, so we just need to stop after the first. To do so, we can add it only if the last value inserted in our result stack was a truthy value. -1 means the last element. Excellent, we have tested the happy path, but let's also check for the edge cases from the earlier examples. But first, in order to keep code reuse low, I'll extract the subject values into a let block that we'll overwrite in the specs I'm about to create. Though I'm not sure if I'll actually overwrite total pages today, a comprehensive test suite will certainly use it. For the actual spec providing the current page value of 2, the expected numbers array should be 1, 2, 3, 4, nil, then 14 and 15. Hopefully it still works. Lovely, we haven't broken anything. Let's write one more really quick and check if things still work when we're on the last page. So we'll expect the numbers to be 1, 2, 0, 13, 14 and 15. Okay, let's actually use this calculator class. I'm going to stub it to return some arbitrary values. The idea is that if our implementation changes, for example, if we always want to show the first 5 pages, we'll only change the calculator spec, but the specs that make use of it, like the ones in this file, won't. So in this case, we'll just check that we return the page number 1 and 3. I will invoke the class within the last and previous pages and provided the total pages and current page from the post scope. Iterating over the values, if we have an actual number, we'll link it, that is unless we are on the current page, and if we get nil, we'll show some dots. Tests are green, let's fire up a browser. Let's style this a bit, but before doing so, I'm going to tidy the code and extract our calculator call to a private method. The gav class is there so I can target it easier from CSS. In the actual sheet, I'll just add a bit of spacing and make the navigation links a bit smaller to fit all pages. And speaking of pages, I don't think we have enough of them, so I'll just change the number of records per page so we can fully try it out. Looks pretty nice. And with this we have finished adding page numbers. Thanks for watching.